What's up, boys? Back out here. I'm gonna start doing turbos. I'm gonna start on the back side because that's the easiest one to do. The front one, I'm gonna have to relocate this engine stand bolt to get that engine mount on. You gotta get that engine mount on with the turbo. You gotta put like 3 pieces on all at the same time to make it work. But first things first, sometimes your timing belt can stretch. Last video, I did the timing. I'm gonna rotate this one time and make sure it stays in time. There we go. Everything's still in time. Let's start doing turbos. This is the front one. This one you pretty much got to put all on all at the same time. The manifold, the turbo, this bracket. You got to have your return line on, hook it up all at the same time, and your engine mount has to be on to do it too, because you can't get under the turbo to mount that on. So that's a pain. This is the rear. You put this on, you put your turbo on, then your engine mount, then your transmission mount, and then your little bracket that hooks I can't remember exactly what it hooks to, but you got a little like L-shaped bracket that hangs off of there. And then you also have the bracket that holds your half shafts in place. But I wanted to go over these manifolds with you guys real quick. Now, you don't really want to gasket match these too much because they're so thin, especially this one. It's such thin piping with such a thin weld that you'll get cracks in it. This one you can take a little bit off of. This one I just took some off the bottom. You see how the bottom of the gasket pretty much matches up with the runner? The top, there's kind of a lip there. You don't want to take too much off the top on these because it will crack. This is just cast iron. This one, you can barely take any off. I took a little bit off the bottom. So this is upside down, this is the top. You can't take any off the top really. The bottom, there's a big step. Like you can feel it with your finger. And you could take about a quarter of that off of there if you want to. Like you see that step right there? That's pretty much a weld that holds the pipe on. So you can take a little bit off of there, but not much. Honestly, it's probably not even worth messing with them. Now, I was watching a video a few weeks back. I don't think I'm gonna do it. But one guy showed dyno numbers and proved. So usually one of these rings go in there to match it up with the manifold. There was a guy that was showing that if you took that ring out, if you clean all that lip out of there, he was showing some good torque gains on a dyno. I don't really remember. If I remember or if I can find it, I'll throw it up on the screen. But there's a nice lip right there. He took this out and then took all that ring out on the turbo and he got gains. But I don't really feel like dealing with that. So pretty much this whole conversation we just had was useless. Let's get this manifold on first because this has got to go on before you can do anything. Before you can put any brackets or anything on. And I want to clean it up. Clean these threads up because they painted them. And cylinder 6 before from the last engine builder was having a lot of blow-by because the rings were on upside down. So this whole runner is full of oil. You can also hit these with sandpaper. Just make sure it stays flat. So I cleaned it all up with brake cleaner. I'm just gonna get some of this flash rusting off. Like I said, you wanna make sure it stays flat. So don't go like a crazy, don't like hit this with 80 grit. I wanna go any lower than like 220. And I don't have it in the vise hard, it'll crack. I just have it in there holding it. Now you can see that I cleaned it all up where like it's a little bit lower there, or a little bit higher there than over here, because that never touched. I mean, I used to have a metal straight edge. I don't know what I did with it. I checked it last time and everything was straight. That middle one's a little bit higher. I mean, hopefully the gasket will clear that up. Yeah, the gasket will clear that up. The gasket's definitely thicker than what it's wobbling on. You could have these decked, or just buy new ones. And I kind of want to clean all this paint off. I can't take a wire wheel to this. I don't want to just throw a piece of wire wheel up in there just to go right into the turbo. Or use some paint thinner or the nail polish remover and just clean this paint off that way instead of using a wire wheel. I don't know if you can tell the difference on camera, but I got all the paint off of everything around these. I'm gonna go up in here and get some of this paint off too. I don't think paint chips would hurt the turbo, to be honest with you. Like if a little chip fell off, it would just get ground up in the turbo and everything would be fine, but they didn't tape these off for nothing. You can see they sprayed everywhere up in there. But everywhere around the manifold where it would leak exhaust gases, I got bare metal. I also rubbed this on there, then ran bolts on all of these. Threads on super easy. Just check everything. Some of these, all the rear might take a washer. I think a couple of the front ones don't take washers. I haven't made up my mind what I want to use on these nuts yet. I have a bunch of ARP grease left over, but I know a lot of people just put like a drop of oil on these to help stretch them. I gotta look up the torque too. I think I'm just gonna put a drop of oil on these. Okay, I just looked it up. These nuts are 22 foot-pounds. It's gonna be hard to do some of these with that because you pretty much have to do it with a wrench. Just go with feel. But the front one's weird. I couldn't find any information on the back. The front one like wants you to do these 4 inside bolts, then put the turbo on, torque that down, then back these 4 bolts off like a quarter turn, then torque down these 3 bolts, then go back and torque those. I don't know if I'm doing all that. I couldn't find anything saying to do that on the rear one. So it's 22 foot-pounds for these. I just put some oil in like one of these big syringes. You just need a drop. You can get away with probably not doing anything. Get them all snug and then back them off to where this can still jiggle. Like just barely, because you want to make sure you're smushing this down all at the same time. I know it's going into aluminum, but 22 does not feel like enough to sit here and hold a turbo on. I'm gonna look this up again. Okay, I just looked it up again. I guess these end ones are supposed to be 38. All these other ones are 22. It just doesn't seem like enough. Like I can get to 22 with a freaking baby little ratchet. Okay, it's on there. Leave it down in the comments. Let me know what you guys think about 22. They're there. The end ones are 38, like it says. Okay, let's get this mount on. This engine mount goes just like that. Now, I'm gonna put just a little drop of Loctite on there. Just a drop, because I don't want these engine mounts coming loose. And I'm using this little like gripper thing to get this one started. Now this whole bracket I might leave off. This bracket is this and this, right? Yeah, it goes like that. That goes to the transmission. This, I can't remember where this goes to. Okay, I just realized that they plugged my oil feed line up, so I gotta get that out, clean that all up. This gotta go there. This is the oil feed for the turbo, and one of the sensors screws in right there. Hopefully they didn't screw those threads up. It seems like it's gonna fit. I gotta get this off now too. Oh shit. I should have put this on before I put the oil pump on. I really didn't want to take that back off. I'm gonna put a shot vac in there, hopefully suck some of that out. That worked out great actually. Sucked all that out of there. Let me clean this all up and get some red silicone on there. Look at those threads, boy. I'm telling you, I can't even remember where I got this wire wheel from. It gets in threads without messing them up like perfect. Everyone's like, how are you excited about a wire wheel? I don't know, because usually I used to just do it by hand. Now I gotta get all this out. This is gonna be fun to get out and not have it fall down in there. I'm gonna have to do this while using the shop vac. Okay, I think we're good. Let's clean everything up with some alcohol. Hey, get yourself a Q-tip. I know some people have told me before that this is pointless. Just a little bit of silicone wouldn't hurt nothing. But I don't want any silicone running through my brand new lifters or rockers or anything. Okay, this only goes in so far. I threaded it in and then pulled it back out off camera to mark it. It only goes to that mark right there. That little Sharpie mark. Because if you put this in too far, you'll block your oil pump like halfway and it'll make your oil pressure go through the roof. Doesn't seem like a bad thing, but it is. Just only thread it into there. It wants to stop. Just don't force this thing. It gets tight right there. Gets snug right there. It's like 3 turns. Yeah, it's exactly 3 turns. Don't go any more than that, because your oil pump pumps up through here, goes this way, comes to this, and then goes up to your block. I don't know how else to explain it any better than that. Just don't send this thing home. And this is one of those cases where you want to put the silicone on the threads so it squeezes out. You don't want to push silicone in to your oil galley. Get it all off that face. Don't have any on this face. Okay, let's start focusing on this turbo finally. Let's get this return line off, get it out of our way. I made this gasket because I didn't have any more. I just used a paper gasket and covered it in Indian head stuff. Probably should have just left this alone. It wasn't leaking. Alright boys, it's actually the next day. I think I left off taking this return line off. I ended up taking this all apart. This was just completely full of oil. You guys remember, if you've been here, last time this was running, this turbo kept getting oil in it. We thought it was because I put too much oil in it and it couldn't return. We had this off like twice, and then come to find out cylinder 6 was just spraying oil out of the exhaust. This whole runner was full of oil. This exhaust housing was completely full of oil. So I just had to take it all apart. I was trying to talk myself into not doing it. I was like, it'll just smoke for a couple minutes. But it was just way too much oil in there. It was just pouring out of there. I had to take it all apart, clean it all with some brake cleaner. I'm gonna smack this back together and I'll bring you right back. Okay, got everything all cleaned up. Return line's gonna go there. Here's your gaskets. They'll go on there like that. Just make sure you're getting it so it can line up. You can't put these on backwards. That'd suck. It's pretty easy to tell which way to go. It'll go like this. So let me get that on there. It's just 210 mils in that gasket. Oh yeah, real quick, you gotta put silicone on these bolts on both sides because it just goes all the way through. It'll leak through the bolt. Same thing on the pan. These just go all the way in. These pretty much another hole. Let's get all the new gaskets and everything and get this thing ready to go. Okay, don't forget your little ring. Even though that one guy was showing that you don't need it and you should delete it, and then these only go on one way. They can't go on any other way, it won't line up. So your little like adjustable thing on the front, outside on the back. Get your turbo. These are gonna be like 40 to 47, so I'm probably gonna set my wrench at 45. Probably should have put this gasket on before I tighten down the turbo because it's off a little bit. You gotta kind of move this, so now I'm gonna have to hold it and run bolts in. Would have been a lot easier to put that on before I torque down the turbo. Whatever, you live and you learn. Like I said, same thing here. Put some red silicone on your bolts. Okay, I just did like a test fit on the downpipe. I'm going to have to put these brackets on before I put the downpipe on because that's where that one thing, this goes like this to hold that downpipe in place and bolt to the transmission. I gotta get this on there before I can put this downpipe on because the downpipe slides through there and then it's just a nut to help hold it up. I should also wrap this all in exhaust wrap. The car never came with the rear exhaust heat shield when I bought it. There was some on the front, but they're torn to crap and looked like crap, so I just took them off. I'm pretty sure I have another surprise for this, so just don't get too upset with me that I'm not putting heat shield on right now. Down the road, I got other plans. Okay, same thing on these. I'm gonna put just a drop of Loctite on these. Now all these can move quite a bit. The holes are big for that purpose, so you can like line it up perfectly with where it needs to go. So get your downpipe on, make sure it lines up with that. It should just go straight on. Like no fighting at all. Alright, well I guess I put Loctite on there for no reason. I'm actually going to leave this loose because even though you get this one lined up perfect, then you can still move this to line it up with the transmission. So whatever. There's lock washers on there too. Alright, let's get the gasket, get this downpipe on. Again, put oil on all your studs that came out. Your downpipe is 40 to 47, so I'm doing 45 again. Okay, oil feed line. Just make sure this lines up real easy, okay? It's just a steel brake line pretty much. That's how it is factory on the car. You don't want it to be all like, it was all kind of bent. Just use like a pipe and kind of bend it around just so it lines up nice and easy. You don't want to have to like force this thing in with that banjo bolt. And replace your crush washers no matter what. I had no leaks. There's less than 30 miles on my old crush washers, but I'm still going to replace them. And replace them with the right size too. Make sure there's not a bunch of play in there. So 2 crush washers, one on each side of that steel line. And then these are super soft. I don't even know what the torque is on those. Let me look it up. I think it's only like 10 or something. Yeah, it's super light. It's like 12. Well, I just forgot that you had to hold a wrench on the top of this. So this will probably leak now up against the block because I made that silicone loose. Because I was torquing this and I started turning the whole thing. I don't know. We'll find out. You can get to this while it's in the car. I mean, it barely turned. I noticed it turning, so I don't know if I ripped the silicone that much, but we'll find out if she sprays oil out of there. I'll be able to find out before it goes in the car anyways, because I'm going to prime this engine outside the car. Don't forget to put your little nut on your downpipe. This is what helps hold it up. Rear turbo's on. Alright boys, I think that's going to be the end of this one. If you guys made it this far, hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. I don't want to be the guy that like starts begging you guys to hit the like button and subscribe. I had a guy message me the other day. It was like, hey man, you got to say something because I just forget. So I don't know, leave down in the comments what you guys think. I don't want to turn to the guy that sits here and like begs every video for you guys to like and subscribe. If you like the video, I figured you'd like it, but I do understand what he's saying. I forget to hit the like button a lot. So, I mean, I guess if I say it at the end, you've already watched the whole video, so obviously you liked it to stick around, I guess. I don't know. I'll see you guys in the next video. This thing's sick.